when you are a 5D collective, we're just going to talk about 5D collective for a minute in this way. You enjoy love and relationships, so you don't become less loving because of heartbreak. You become more loving. Why? Because you use prefrontal cortex to allow yourself to notice thoughts and emotions as a inner growth mindset and lifestyle choice person, at least here at IHP. Self-help, spiritual and or personal development involves you saying yes to being you. Your authentic sense of self involves you learning to be self-reliant on the self-worth that your inner child will get to have when you are an inner child adult, is how I'm going to say it. So you have the capacity to love yourself first and to be in a relationship with your whole authentic self vulnerably. So those 6 basic emotions, you can share them with yourself. They don't remain in the unconscious of you. They get to become conscious because you get to look at sensations, images, affects, meanings, and behaviors because you know how to put into practice mindfulness and meditation and yoga if you enjoy it, and any of those which are the holistic and spiritual practices that as a 5D mystic I incorporate as well into our personal development toolkit. You can also make use of guidance such as our lovely tarot oracle card reading and that type of guidance, as well as Akashic record readings. And those are two that I'm self-taught. As for Reiki, that is something that has a lineage, and you do have the awareness that there are theologians who have decided to call it bad energy. So we leave alone people who don't do the spirituality and sciences together because, again, they're not part of our 5D collective. It's not a race. It's not better. It's not worse, but it is a different set of group of people. Okay, and with that, feminine energy and masculine energy. We talked a little bit about twin flames and soulmates and the oversoul and why we get to learn how to harness all those 6 basic emotions that we have and then to share them with those people. And why silence and or how can I put it, mismatch meaning wanting different types of attachment, relationship styles, okay, and not the excuse me, not the not secure. So what I meant to say is expectations. So safe haven, secure base, and not styles in that sense. So we, as a securely attached style human being and our category, you will notice that those who are not securely attached and they're not seeking to be in their earned secure attachment, they will not want to be in a relationship with you. That's because they will not enjoy what is your dynamic. And furthermore, they're not consistent contingent communicators. So they won't be building anything that is going to solidify. That's why there will be a mismatch. And so on that note, a 5D collective, man, woman, they will not be doing something called, oh, that's an evil person. Let me go generalize all men, all women, all days. That's not how it happens. Okay, so 1 heartbreak, 2 heartbreaks, 10 doesn't mean your heart actually broke. You know actively that mismatch can happen and that those who want to have love and a relationship romantically with you will tell you so. And that's consistently. So people who are not consistent, to those of us who are consistent, they're like, and in fact, they flake out. But we don't go and call them names and any of that. Okay, so you have your own feminine energy and masculine energy, and that's because you are your own divine feminine, your body, your inner child, your divine masculine, your mind, and you use what I call your masculine, your left mode, and your feminine, your right mode, the nonverbal. And that means you do all of those safe haven, secure base inside here, so you know how to be your 1-year-old independently and your 3-year-old. And so as a differentiated whole self, you are a solo self that has a core self that navigates the narrative and relational self in all of you with that mindfulness, so focused attention and awareness. And when you're in the uncertainty, unknown, unexpected, in that awareness, you don't have a hard time with it. You don't have a hard time with thoughts or emotions. You have a soft. So you allow yourself with the inner growth mindset to build that attunement to yourself and then resonate with yourself and continue to use your prefrontal cortex with that 3rd pillar of the mind and mindfulness practices and meditation, which is kind intention. And so you sit with kind intention when you're exploring likes and dislikes. And that's where you also share neutrality and duality. And with compersion, that means you have healthy self-worth and want your partner or partners to be happy. So if there's a breakup, even if it breaks your heart, you want the people, man, woman, they, to be happy. And in fact, when someone says to you, if they're getting that so-called karma, so somebody who, let's say they break your heart, okay, because they dump you. After 10 years of a relationship, they dump you. And I've seen people actively tell people to go out and become successful and then, spite. And I do this, but they actively mean it. So they break up with you and then they have some shit happen to them. There are those who will be happy to see a person being in heartbreak. And when I've heard this sentence before, it's been shared with me because I have had plenty of my own breakups. I'm like, no, I don't want that for someone. I've even had a friend of mine who, at the time, I wasn't speaking to them by choice, and they were getting cheated on, and everyone that tunes in knows this story. And my friend is writing me, and the first thing he writes, "Are you happy now?" And I don't know what he's talking about. And I say, "What? What am I happy about? I'm being cheated on. Why would I be happy? I don't have joy out of misery. That's not love, and that's not who I am." But my friend was being spiteful because I had given him some advice. He didn't take it. Oh, here's what a feminine also doesn't do. A divine feminine, we don't do what martyrs, superiors, the low self-esteem human being who says, "I told you so," or the blamer, see, serves you right, you did it to me. That actively is like a teenager attitude to me, and it's not a actual grown-up. In fact, it's a shame cycle person who could become an emotional grown-up by owning their inner child and becoming an adult. So a functional adult doesn't do passive-aggressive. In fact, they know how to regulate, as we discuss here. So doesn't mean that as a teenager, as a child, you didn't get to have any of all this stuff. Because like, are you Miss Perfect? Nobody's talking about perfection. We're talking about emotional maturity and how to get out of it. And the only people who will do that actively, it's because they are getting defensive. So we don't have to judge envy, jealousy, spite, or revenge. They're in fact not anything to do with the Lucifer or demons or any of stories. It's active people who could make use of understanding that their inner child, the 0-1-year-old attached panicky, the 3 to 7 shame submissive, the freeze of all ages, the 11-12, the flight, and the fight 14-15-16, your child charged parts. They are charged as long as you, the grown-up, isn't using your prefrontal cortex. So they can get uncharged, which is why our oversoul is important and our relationships. So we learn how to choose to maintain alignment with pure consciousness, that's Purusha, unconditional love, that's the spiritual journey here, and Prakriti, that's pure energy, it's your whole 3-year-old heart, and that's because you are consistently in that sphere of heart, body, value, body, mental, energy, emotional, and physical. And I didn't do yoga, but I learned all about what people who do yoga get taught about how to stay in alignment with all of this. And I get to share with you my path was with Jesus and still does involve Jesus. And then it was, "Hey, Maria, are you open-hearted?" "Yes." "Are you closing your heart?" "No." Come on." "Yeah, but wait a minute. What are we going to do when we meet unkindness? If we want to say that we love, I want to say open-hearted. So I chose as a teenager to stay open-hearted when I met all these teenagers. And I just knew the grown-ups were right, okay? So with that being said, when we have mismatch of people who don't learn how to be emotionally mature, we learn how to handle Cuscos, that's the Pachas, 5D collective. And thankfully, we have a buttload of therapists who help people to learn how to use their gut. And like Gabor Mate says, your gut isn't trustworthy until you get out of, and I don't know how he poses it, but it's until you get out of whatever it is that is uncertainty for you to be yourself. So people can unlearn how to have what is self-doubt, but that's only once they get to become their inner child adult. So let me put that aside and close on out with attachment and how a whole self feels. So you have your own feminine, it's your body, your own masculine, and therefore you have a sense of self-worth. You're reliant on your own sense of self-worth, your whole self. You get into loving relationships with people who will respect you and you will respect them. And we accept each other and we share emotions and we tell each other all of that which is a part of our life, and then we will feel secure to be ourselves and safe. And even if our nervous system is not soothed by those who are around us because they don't see us, because they don't welcome us as ourselves. So when people have said, you should change, Maria, I have said, no, I just told you I want to be accepted for who I am, and you're coming back to me with, you should change? That doesn't make any sense. Didn't you hear what words I just said? I don't change. This is who I am. You don't know. Yeah, I do know. I'm Maria. If I say what I say what I mean. Otherwise, if I change my mind, I'll let you know. But I don't change my mind on some things. I know what I'm saying. So when you know who you are, you get to be yourself, and people will love you for who you are, and they will see you. If they don't, it's okay. We see ourselves, and we soothe our nervous system, and we say, "This is who I am. If you like and enjoy me, I enjoy you as you are, and we can continue to be friends." And that's why you're a shit. No, you're a shit. No, we're all shits. And that's what happens in love and relationships with attachment that matches. So it means we want to be in each other's lives as safe havens and secure bases, or just secure bases, or just safe havens. And that's actually fun. And that's for my polyamory, my crew. Come on over. So we have people that we have safe haven relationships with because they welcome us as who we are. And so when we have something going on, we can go to them and they'll support us because they give us an ear. And then we have secure base, and they are supportive because they have similar interests, and then we can share, and that's good for entrepreneurs. You want to have those people who can share. The perfection, obviously, for romance is safe haven and secure base. And so you get intellectually, emotionally, and physically all giggly and happy. For real, not in the way of other people. So I'm going to read to you a quote, and I'm going to use some different words, though. And so I'm Cherokee proverb, but I'm modifying it. A feminine's highest calling is to lead a masculine to the center of the heart, so as to unite them with the mind and body and be one with the sphere of consciousness. I'm changing it up a little bit, okay? To match the 5D collective and what we know about when you are a complete integrated brain and restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, and regulating person. Because that is what you get to do with spiritual self-help and personal development here at IHP. And then to be that in your loving relationships, romantic and not, polyamory and not. Okay, the feminine's lowest calling is to seduce, separating masculine mind from their heart. And that means only left mode, so non-bilateral, no integration, leaving them masculine, aimlessly wandering. And so in this case, we have a masculine that has infinite potential of life, but they're only using their left mode of the brain, which means that they only say right and wrong like Cusco, and that makes them an adaptive child behavior or maladaptive child behavior, which then means they're going to use their neuroplastic agent of imagination in a way that wires themselves shut, because their dark sides is what they're going to use if they know everything, right? It's all about me, self-bridled expression. I'm going to build the breadcrumb of trails with all the information I already have, because that's what happens when you're non-bilaterally integrated. Your inner child's not there, your heart's not there, you're just using the left mode. Okay, and so they're aimlessly wandering because that infinite potential is not being captured, contained, given, limitation, nurtured. There's no nurturing without the heart, without your embodied nervous system and your brain, being able to hear the gut and the heart in a sense of ease. And actually there's the three brains, okay? And so restored embodiment, that's somatics. When your mind and heart, your body are in harmony. And you will have that when you are navigating from that prefrontal cortex, because that's the ventral vagal social engagement system. It uses the prefrontal cortex, while our safety behavior reptilian uses your brainstem, which is what an adaptive child, the fight response is in your sympathetic. Okay, so here's where non-bilaterally they actually get to wander, and what we see in fact is that they dismantle things and they want to prove they're right. And you'll notice a difference because they're not curious, open, accepting, and loving of humanity, of relationships, of what they're engaging in. They are actively trying to challenge, and it's not in a way of, I want to challenge you to expand. I'm giving you constructive criticism. You'll hear the difference because they will have a way, and then the way they want to bring out the conversation, it won't be to build it up. It'll be to try and break it down. And once you're familiar enough with how that works, I have plenty of experience with Cusco's. You actively have fun because nobody can dismantle a whole 3-year-old heart, because I'm a feeling-based person. So that's why we're stupid to people who don't use both sides, because they don't actively understand that we're not using linear thinking. We're not taking anything out of context. We're going to wait till you're done. We're doing things in a very different format, the actual feminine. We see all of our capturing is not to limit. It is because we can enclose everything, and then we can make with what we have. And here's where let's move to the other part. And so when integration is here, what happens? And actually what happens, with a left mode that works with the right mode, a masculine and the mind with the heart. A masculine's highest calling is to protect feminine. So to protect my heart. So my mind, my brain, my embodied brain is here to protect my body, which is actively what happens with the first year of life. That human being, when they don't get consistent contingent communication, the embodied brain, it's learning how to handle what's being presented. And that's why the avoidance, they have no emotional experience. So their right mode is not going to be able to know what, they won't have, I forget how they explain it, but they have to be cut off from their emotional body. So they have a lot of left mode linear. So, I get explained how to ride a bike. I know how to explain it, but I don't have like a sense of just softness and joy and no emotional experiences. The ambivalent, they have a revved up nervous system because they get confusing messages, and so they go chaos, while avoidance go rigid. And disorganized, they have frightening experiences, so they have a fragmented sense of self because their safety behavior, their nervous system is on human dangerous, but at the same time, the attachment system, no, human is mine, I'm a mammal, I need them. And they actively need to go into shutdown and dissociation because the body is fragmented. The brain is saying go towards it and go away, so they're confused completely. And then they have to kind of just mobilize. And so anyways, that's for those who don't have a secure attachment, which is why once they get to secure attachment, they will enjoy what actual love and relationships are meant to be and were meant to be for them from that first year. So a masculine's highest calling is to protect the feminine, your heart, your body, which your brain does do. Like the lovely DID lady that is healed, her brain protected her with the consciousness barriers, memory barriers. And then she got Daniel Siegel as her therapist, and then she got to save herself, which was already saved by her own brain. And in 6-7 years' time, she was healed, and all of her child parts got to meet, and her alters, or however they call, there's different ways people call all these things. And then she is actively a therapist and writing a book to share with anyone with the ID. You're not broken, but you're healable, meaning that you can become your whole self again. And I don't remember if she says fixable, but basically she states no one's broken. Like any person who talks to you that's an expert or informed on trauma, no one's broken. You can return home to your origins, which is what your embodied brain is already trying to do. Okay, so a masculine, again, highest calling is to protect the feminine. So your mind is here to protect your body, your brain is. That's why it hones in on that which is scary and or painful, so that you can physically stay alive. Because as our lovely Sadhguru also shares, your body is not here to serve, or your body is here to serve the life that you are. Let me see if I can find that quote for us. He shared it. I write things down, but I have so many notes that I actually get lost. But I think I put it here. Let's see if you can bear with me just for a minute. Nope. Okay, you know what? Let me try this way. Okay. The life within you is not there to serve your body, mind, or emotion. The body, mind, and emotion are there to serve life, said Guru. And then he also shares seeing everything just the way it is gives you the power and capability to walk through life effortlessly. That's from your lovely, though, prefrontal cortex, because you'll also know about your biases and you won't have them lead the way and stuff like that. Okay, so when the masculine is protecting the feminine, then the feminine is free to walk the earth unharmed. But the masculine's lowest calling is to ambush and force their way into the life of the feminine. And what you do know about the left mode of the brain is that it's the verbal part and it creates a story. And we're going to use our lovely Stephen Porges for that one because he explains the best when people get triggered into either mobilization defenses or shutting down, they develop elaborate narratives to make sense of what their body is doing. And that is why I equate all of that, which is from our lovely spiritual and spirituality community, to the human elements and the sciences of that which is attachment and trauma that I have been learning about and that I will continue to learn about in order to support those who want to be safe haven, secure base of their own selves, and with that healthy self-worth, know how love works for real, and then to share that, and we get to, again, heal trauma one person at a time, one relationship at a time. And with attachment, when there's a mismatch, it's because a person doesn't want to return to their inner child. That's because they're feeling in danger. And that's because they have either unawareness of their own childhood trauma by their own choosing, because in 2024, it's all over the place. And the people say, enough with that childhood trauma stuff. Find it hard to believe that my first 2 years of life mean anything. That's how people will be when they hear how implicit memory and your childhood does matter, and why your adaptive child pattern and maladaptive, drug addiction, sex addiction, any addiction is a maladaptive child behavior, and your first 3 years of life matter. So the people who don't want to believe in it, they are emotionally avoidant. They typically are not building authentic, genuine, and deep relationships. And in fact, they're not living the true spirituality life, because that is a life with our human herd. And so no one is against the human herd. We don't say nature has to survive alone. We are part of nature. And we understand that humans are not perfect, because we are all imperfect and flawed. And the biggest actual lie that I've noticed, the person who has a trust break, so they're misanthropists, the ones who mistrust, dislike, and hate humankind, is that they don't remember they're human. And that's because their left mode is making up some bullshit story about something that their right mode says, I don't like it. And that's their 14-month-old, and then it's a teenager, and they don't notice the inconsistency. You are human. If you don't like being a human, you don't like yourself. That's not true, Maria. As a teenager, that's what I would get this. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. So I don't bother trying to tell anyone that they don't like themselves, because they will say, that's not true. Okay, sure. I don't like a lot of things. I don't make it into a statement that generalizes and then creates this thing of it's a truth. I can share opinions, which is why I don't have that judgment thing, because I share an opinion. It's not an irrefutable fact. It's not rigid. It's not in any way, shape, or form rigid. It's soft, because today I can say this, tomorrow I can say that. Here's your enlightenment soul age group. It's not because our brain is falling out of our ass. No, it's actively because our brain is integrated, flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable. So I know what I'm talking about. I don't need to prove it, because I'm not an adaptive child. I'm a functional adult. I actively am not having a conversation to make it all about me, so that I can prove that I'm right, so that I can prove my place in this herd and get your thumbs up or thumbs down. I'm not having that. I'm actively enjoying, or I was, so I learned how not to engage with Cuscos at all, and to enjoy their line of questioning, because that's what they do. They will have a line of questioning. Yeah, so anyways, here's where I don't remember how much I shared in the other episode, but I share a story, a funny one if I remember, because I did a couple of retakes, so you might want to go tune to that one. But for feminine and masculine, we have both. When you're a whole person, that's the somatic harmony here, and therefore your left doesn't make up shit, so you don't do structural dissociation. Your right doesn't have this reactivity. You have containment, but it's not just containment, it's you see, process, elaborate, and then share. So with our relationships, the ones who do match, we have secure attachment relationships. And then some are secure connections, and then some become secure attachment figures. And that's only when they say yes to wanting to be a safe haven, secure base. And so that means they want to talk to you every day. They want to know how you're doing. They don't dismiss any of that, which is your emotional plane. In fact, they don't give you, I had a bad day, so you can't talk to me about this stuff. Or, yeah, we don't silence each other because of bad moods. We actively support each other. That's the point of what a secure attachment, functional adult, restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, and regulating life is, which is where we are at here at IHP, your host, your mentor, whatever other else you will want to use as words for me. Mentor if you do one-to-one mentorship, and then masterclass. All of these beautiful words to say we can all tap into the sphere. We're a collective. A bunch of people are out there. I learn from a bunch of great people, and then I share with you that wisdom. And then I have my own mystic journey for my 5D mystics. Come on over. And on that note, the sun is going. Thank you for stopping by. Like, share, and subscribe. And we will be back with more soon. Oh, FYI, we will have a calendar. So my plan is not to consistently share a bountiful of episodes every day, just so you know. But I will let you know if I set down a schedule at some point. Otherwise, I'll just play it by ear like I did with our audio today. And on that note, again, thank you so much for stopping by. Have a good one.